Perfect. Thanks very much. So we're really delighted to be here today. And I must say, I listened to a couple of sessions earlier this morning, mainly talking about trees and the planting of trees. And I found it really encouraging just to see so many kind of dedicated people interested in planting trees. So I really enjoyed the sessions this morning. Today, we're going to stay on the topic of agriculture and talk to you a little bit about plant-centered growing. But just about everything we say is also applicable to trees. So if you're in the audience and interested in trees, we can definitely apply some of our technology to your plantations as well. So my name is Carrol Plummer. I am the co-founder and CEO of a Swiss-based company called Vivent. And the topic of this conference is really consistent with our business. So we have built something like a Fitbit for plant. We're taking electrical signals that plants use to control their growth and defense, turning those into digital signals and processing those with machine learning so we can help make agriculture more sustainable. And I'm joined here for the Fireside chat with Christina Ulardic from Astanor. And Astanor is one of the most important investors in our business. So I'll pass it over to Christina so you can tell us a little bit about Astanor and yourself.
Thanks a lot, Carol, and welcome everyone in the room. Despite being virtual, we are very excited to be here. So thanks for commentating and giving us a chance. So yes, my name is Christina Larnick. I'm a partner with Astanor Ventures. And Astanor Ventures is an impact investor, a venture capital firm. We do invest to make the food system more sustainable, more nourishing to people, and more equitable. And one of the reasons why we do have backed Vivent is that we believe they can make a very disruptive contribution to a more sustainable agriculture. And I would like to ask Carol here how Vivent is contributing to sustainable agriculture.
Thanks very much. Thanks very much, Christina. So this is our third venture-backed business. Our previous two businesses were both successful exits for our VCs. So we're delighted to be with Christina today. Our previous two businesses were also deep tech. So when I say deep tech, it means a lot of things have to go right to get to market, to bring something really new to market. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about what we're doing and why it's new and just how important the digital aspect has been for our business. So you can see this little representation of a plant. Plants are really amazing sensing organisms. So they are gathering information about things that are happening in their environment, both in the air, around the foliage, and in the soil. And they are transmitting information along a superhighway, which we think of as the stem, in order to be able to adapt to those conditions. So this is these electrical signals in plants have been known about for more than 150 years, but they were quite hard to capture. And we were able to make some real improvements on the devices that are available today just through some better electronics. But kind of even more interestingly, the signals are tough to interpret. So it's hard to know when you're seeing a spike in the signal, like you can see on the right-hand side of this chart, whether that's to do with a watering event, a wounding event, a fungal infection. And that's where the digital aspect of our business is so important. So we spent a lot of time looking at these signals and analyzing them in many different ways. But once we started applying machine learning to these biological signals, we've made just a series of breakthroughs. So the machine learning aspect of our business is really important. And I know there's a bunch of other people there that are interested in machine learning. So what these signals enable us to do is to actually diagnose when plants, could be trees or crops, field crops, indoor crops like tomatoes in a greenhouse, lettuce in a greenhouse. It enables us to diagnose when the plants are stressed well before visual symptoms. So this is real-time information about the plant health status, and that's available to growers. It could also be available to people in the community, anyone with an interest in plants. So for us, we take this information and we provide early warnings to growers so that they can optimize conditions for their plants. We also do quite a lot of work with people that provide crop protection products, because this lets them understand if the plants are protected, if the plants have responded to specific treatments. So how does this make agriculture more sustainable? Well, we've been driven by sustainability from the start, and we know that if we can diagnose crop problems early, the chance that you can treat them effectively really increases. And sometimes you can choose environmentally preferable treatments like beneficial insects, or sometimes you can just water or apply fertilizer, which strengthens the plant's ability to fight off whatever is attacking them. So this enables us to really reduce the amount of crop protection used in agriculture. It also enables people to optimize inputs like water or heat or light. So I think sustainability has been important for us kind of as we've developed this business, and we've really found a great partner in Astanor because they are also very driven by not just sustainability, but all of the ESG goals. Christina, do you want to tell us a bit more about that?
Of course. So with the first fund we have raised, which is a 260 million fund, as I said earlier, we invest from farm to fork. So we have a portfolio of 30 plus companies that are active in on the soil measurements, like Carrol's business, for example, or that are making a contribution to alternative proteins all the way to finding packaging solution. So quite a broad universe if you think about ESG and criteria. So what we typically do is we ask the businesses to come up with very specific KPIs that are relevant to the business. That could be water savings, CO2 savings, depending on the business that they're in. But what we also do, and we have done with Vivent and Carrol's business, is that we check certain systemic criteria, like, for example, the businesses do a life cycle analysis, or they strive to become a B Corp, something that Vivent has been doing. Now, moving back to Carrol, it would be interesting for the audience to show and talk about what you're doing to scale and to move the business forward.
I'm happy to do that. So I think I'm just going to highlight what Christina said about sustainability metrics to get started. I think we've applied for the B Corp certification, and we are in the final stages of that award process. So I think I'm hoping by the end of the year I actually be awarded the B Corp certification. But I just wanted to give a plug to that to other startups or scale-ups in the room, and just say that the process that is used when you go through the B Corporation certification has been really useful for us as a business, because we have used that to drive the development of our policies and to drive also the development of quite a lot of work that we have done with partners. So if you don't know about the B Corp certification, I would definitely encourage you to have a look at that. We also completed a life cycle analysis for our product, which for us was really interesting. It provides quantifiable measures that we will build on. And for us, this was kind of less surprising learnings from this, because we understood a little bit about how our product drives the environment. But with the B Corp, I'm just going to come back and talk a little bit more about how partners can help us with certainly measuring and increasing the environmental impact or the sustainability impact of our business. So we have used commercial partnerships in order to get quantifiable measurements of the impact of our technology in a way that we just wouldn't have been able to do on our own as a small business. So we've got some partnerships with some big corporates that have access to either labs or fields in which we can run experiments and measure the impact of our technology in a much more quantifiable way than we would be able to do without those partnerships. So again, for us, those partnerships are important for our commercial traction, which is kind of a key part of scaling up, but they're also important for our sustainability, being able to measure our impact on the sustainability of agriculture on a longer term basis. So we are, as a business, just in that transition from a startup to a scale up. And I can tell you a little bit more about what we're doing on scale ups. But I thought, Christina, you might have some words of advice on other companies that are interested in scaling up. What are you looking for when you're listening to people that are in that transition from startup to scale up?
Well, I mean, when we do a seed funding, such as supporting Weave, we are primarily looking to back outstanding entrepreneurs, because they have the ability to connect the dots. And it's very much about finding ways to market, but then also about productization, so that the business can scale. So especially if you look into a space like Vivent, at some point you need to be automating, and you need to have products in the market that are easy to understand. They can be used by growers. They don't need a lot of hand holding. And this is now the phase at which Vivent is.
That's exactly right. So we're using some partnerships both for research, but also for distribution to try to increase that commercial traction and really fine-tune the product market fit. I think this is a really important part of the growth and development of any small business, getting the product market fit right. And one of the things we're doing, for our own interest and because it helps us attract new clients, is trying to really quantify the user benefits. So that's interesting. The users don't often ask for that at the start, but we find it beneficial and they find it very interesting to talk about that once we've worked together for a while. So that's something else that we're working hard on right now. And in terms of, being able to scale, we're also building organizational capability. So we've got, we're of course hiring people, but we're also putting in place best practice in terms of training and onboarding, but still maintaining our kind of nimble startup culture. So that's something else that I spend a lot of my time as CEO thinking about. So I spend a lot of time thinking about people. And then, of course, we need to finance for growth. Right now, we're in good financial shape, but we will be running really our A series round in early 2023. So I'm also kind of thinking about what we need to prepare for in order to run a really successful kind of A series round in early 2023. So that's a little bit about what we're doing in order to scale up. And I guess I would say just another little plug. I think it's really important to understand that lots of impact or value-driven startups end up being much more successful, both financially and in terms of their impact on the community or on the environment, because they're driven by these values. And I think Astanor has done a great job of kind of supporting us in that and actually holding us to account on that, making sure that we are kind of living those values day to day and are able to report back on them.
That's great to hear, Carrol. So what we thought, we only have 2 minutes left in this fire chat, which is a bit difficult for us to manage because we don't see the audience, but we thought if there were any questions, we would like to take them. And perhaps get the help of the moderator.
Yes, I'm here. Any questions? No. Yes, maybe? No. Okay, looks like there are no questions.
Yes, from our perspective, it's really interesting just to think about the themes of this conference, the digital, sustainable, and profitable. And with our plant-centered growing, it just would not have been possible to do this work without access to high-speed computing and good quality, low-cost electronics. So I think that, we feel proud to be part of a group of companies that are applying this technology to making a difference to big challenges.
So then if there are no further questions, and we are spot on 15 minutes, thank you very much, everyone, for the opportunity to present Vive, which we are a proud backer of. Thank you very much.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Carrol and Christina. Thank you.
Thank you.